And I was Bhagat Singh and I had that mustache and my zip was open. So I went on stage with my zip open. And I look at my mom, she's standing there, she's like, and I'm like, oh. We just looked at each other and we both just went like, Karan Johar ki picture, Karan Johar ki picture. And it was mad. It was mad. He said it with as much honesty as I was saying. And we were doing this backstage. Like we were about to enter the scene.
Yeah.
He was going to call action and we are here, picture just doing like picture.
Being like fangirls.
Yeah. It's like the most set that you'll see because it is. That's just how it is. That's the vibe, man. The vibe is love.
Are you a loser? Are you a freak? Do you need a lover? Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Don't bother me.
Welcome to another episode of Real Struggle, real filmmakers and actors about their struggles working in the chaotic world of films. Today our guest is legendary theatre performer, actor, OTT star, and poster boy for all the young women out there, Abhinav Sharma.
I wish not even a single thing is true. Yeah, but it's okay. I'm happy you think that that's the case, but it's not.
But what about all these Abhinav Sharma fan clubs that are there on Instagram?
That's sweet. I think these are like blessings and all, man. You gotta take them.
Do you follow any of them back?
Yeah. Oh, the first feeling is always, dude, like how is another human being taking out that much time to just,
Appreciate you.
I'm not worth it for sure. So it just makes you feel like all these sweet things like grateful. So there's a lot of gratitude and I have a lot of love for them. So like, yeah.
So is this the first podcast you're doing?
This is the first podcast that I'm doing. I was very reluctant to do it because I have other friends as well who sort of asked me if, I'd like to come and do this thing. But
how did it start, like this whole acting thing? Like, I want to try acting.
So when I was in school, I was a fairly reserved, I was very shy. So my mom, who was a teacher in my school, her best friend used to teach me English. So she saw that. And she suggested that my mom should send not just myself, but my brother as well to this summer workshop for kids that her son, Dilip Shankar, was doing. Dilip Shankar is a theatre practitioner in Delhi. He does workshops with children and artists. He's also a casting director. He's casted for Life of Pi, Reluctant Fundamentalist. So I was 12 or 13 when I went for that workshop. And Dilip sir was the first person who sort of, I remember we got done with the workshop and I was 13. He said, come here. And I was like, hi. He's like, and he just put his arm on my shoulder and he said, you're born to be an actor.
He said it that softly?
Yeah, that's how he speaks. You're born to be an actor. And I didn't understand. I was like, okay. I was like, chalo, theek hai.
Then you went home and told your
mom and dad.
Mama, I'm born to be an actor.
Born to be an actor. And then I remember, so I come from a fairly we're not really from the space. So there's nobody in my family who's really done
anything like the creative line.
I mean, everyone's been creative, but taken it up professionally to the point where it's your career.
Yeah.
So I think they were a bit like, who is this man who's just told our child that he's born to be an actor? And I'm from Delhi, so it was like one of those things where, you know how parents feel, right? Like they just want their child to be okay and not be like
too risky career moves.
In a way. But as I grew older, I sort of segued away from it.
And away from acting.
Yeah, because then you just want to be cool, right, in school.
But isn't acting cool?
Hear me out. So that's the thing about school, right? Like I personally didn't enjoy that much because like I was bullied a lot. But again, I'm not glorifying it because if so many people go through it. But I didn't have the best time in school. And I remember for me, till the age of 16, it was always about like trying to fit in. So if I saw like the cool kids were playing football, I'd be like, oh, I'll try football. I do that.
Were you good at sports?
I was the water boy.
Oh, okay. So no.
That answers your question.
Even I wasn't good at sports.
That's okay. Then, when I was 16, my brother, my elder cousin, and his friend started a drama society in my school. And they were going to like this other school to participate in some skit making competition or something. And I think they were just going there because like they were like, there's cute girls from other schools and like there's, we just have some fun. We don't have to attend classes that day. Do you want to come along? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I went for that with them and I had a great time and I kept doing that. So, and before I knew what I was doing, I was a very active member of the drama team in our school eventually, and suddenly it became cool. So yeah, that's after that I think is when I was like, okay, cool. Now I'm gonna go to college. So I went to Hansraj. I did theater there for 3 years as well. I did BA program, but I primarily just focused all my energy on doing street plays, stage plays. Then I went to Lee Strasberg in New York. Went to drama school. That was nice. Then I stayed back in New York for a bit. Did theater over there. Then I moved to Mumbai.
Do you think if you didn't do your Hansraj BA course and you did like an acting or filmmaking course, you would have been happier, or you're glad you did that course?
I'm so happy I did that course because no, I didn't really study, right? Like, I mean, I'd studied enough to pass that course, but I was again, all my energy was on drama. I truly believe like the Delhi University theatre circuit is just unabashedly, they're just very brave with what they want to make, and there's no hindrance of any kind, like in terms of should we not. There's just a lot of like, for the lack of a better word, there's just a lot of balls in terms of how we approach things. We just go for it. If you want to make this, you make it. That was the first time I directed a play, I wrote a play. So all these things wouldn't have happened if I didn't have that space to be that free with my work.
But is it a very competitive space, like the theatre space? Like if you're a first year student getting into a drama
That's actually a pretty
society?
cool question. And so in my first and second year, and again, there's no right or wrong, right? Like it's art, there's no right or wrong. But everything was about like, first, second, third, best actor, best actress, best play, and all those things used to happen even there. I think it still does. In my third year, at least from my side, what I could do, and not just myself, other seniors as well, what we tried to do was when someone came to our college, there was no first, second, third. There was no best play. There was just like a discussion with the judge, which is how I feel it should be. Because I remember
More like a review.
I remember putting in too much effort at times because of the need to be like first.
You have that competitive thing in you also, no?
I had that.
You don't have it anymore.
Now it's self-driven. Now it's got nothing to do with what others are doing. I have no interest in that. In fact, I celebrate that. If you speak to any of my friends who are in the same field, but I cheer for them as much as I would for myself. Okay, maybe that's easier said than done. You do celebrate yourself a lot more, I guess, but I don't have any sense of competition when it comes to this field of work. Even when people say healthy competition, I don't understand it. मेको ऐसा बहुत time से नहीं लगा. Since I was, I think, 20, I never felt that.
So why Lee Strasberg though?
When I was 18, I got my first job.
What were you doing?
I got a film.
Did you shoot a little for it, or like?
We did a mock shoot and we got our visas done. We were going to go to the States to shoot it. It was with a very nice banner. It was, it was everything that you'd want it to be.
How did you get the film?
I auditioned.
How did you hear about the audition?
Delhi. Again, through Drama Society. So a lot of people started coming to. It was actually after, I think after Band Baja Barat came out, that this whole Delhi boy thing, and even though Ranveer is from Bombay, but he played this Delhi boy so well.
Yeah.
I think this Delhi boy thing became a thing. Like everyone just wanted like Delhi boys and Delhi girls, and that whole thing started, of every casting call sort of looking similar. And a lot of people started coming to Delhi. A lot of people started setting up offices in Delhi, casting people. And they'd come watch our plays. I think in one of those spaces, someone recommended and I auditioned for it and I got it. But I was on that project for 3 years. It just never.
So how do you trust your talent when you don't know if you have it or not? How do you nurture that?
I think there's always a part of you that feels honest about whatever you do. So for example, say the first time I went on stage, I was Bhagat Singh. I was in GK in my Nani's house was in GK, and there was like that, I think it was one of those, ode to like the patriots and all that. So everyone was dressed up as someone, and I was Bhagat Singh and I had that mustache and my zip was open. So I went on stage with my zip open and I said the one slogan, but everyone started laughing. And I was like, why is everyone laughing? I worked so hard. And I look at my mom, she's standing there, she's like, and I'm like, oh. So again, like I remember, so this is a very traumatic experience if you think about it. But I still remember feeling really nice, man. Even though they were literally laughing at the fact that this boy's fly is open.
Yeah.
But I still remember, the fact that I remember it so fondly should tell you a lot,
Yeah.
And then I really do like what I do. I feel really nice whenever I'm on camera or when I'm on stage. You've seen me I'm not saying you think I'm good, but I just feel
I
like
think you're
because,
good.
because
So, your first acting gig was an ad, I remember you telling me, once you came to Bombay.
oh yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, but how did you get that ad? Knock on doors.
Audition, yeah.
So, after that, what was your next paying gig?
I got The Office.
Right after. And didn't you do that other show, beach mein?
Oh, I did Balle Balle. I did a musical
before
with this.
Balle Balle.
Imperfect.
Imperfect.
I shot that even after The Office. It just came out earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Balle Balle, Office, Imperfect. That's the order.
Yeah. So I did Balle Balle with Wizcraft. I had a great time. It was a musical. I also did musical theatre in Strasberg.
Okay.
So I just had a great time. I loved it.
Can you talk a little bit about Balle Balle?
Yeah, it was like a full-on Bollywood musical. It was the most typical storyline, and I played a character called Joe. You've seen it.
Yeah.
Not to get too into it, but it's just a great time. You know, you don't overthink these kind of things, and we were singing all the Bollywood numbers. They went on to perform in Delhi and other
You went on
places.
to The Office.
I got The Office, so I asked them if I could maybe take over.
Do you think Balle Balle did help in your abilities as an actor, improve it?
100%. The scale is different, right? Like it's a different process. Again, we were paid really well, and that's important as well. I feel like it's important that I state the fact that because if there are young actors who are seeing this, there is nothing wrong with being comfortable, and there is nothing wrong with wanting to get paid what you feel you deserve to be paid.
So, Office was Kavish.
Office was Kavish. Imperfect was also Kavish. Balle Balle was Mukesh Chabra. Mismatched was Panchami.
But Office must have been a big deal for you, no? Like,
Yeah,
because
I was a
it's-
big fan. A big fan. The first time I saw The Office was actually when I was at Strasbourg because at that time Netflix hadn't come to India and it was on Netflix US. Dude, I remember watching that show and thinking, why is this show not in India?
Yeah.
Not The Office India. I used
No,
to
like,
think,
why
why
isn't
is
it
The
playing
Office
on
US
TV?
playing on TV in India, man?
Yeah.
This is the funniest shit I've seen in my
Yeah.
life. And before I knew it, I was in The Office India.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, like,
It's mad.
you
It's
kind
mad manifestations.
yeah, you've got like a leading primary character on a show. How many years into being in Bombay? 1 year,
Yeah, I was like,
which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So with The Office, I mean, that was kind of like good starting point for anyone, like to be in a leading role in a show. I mean, however the show turned out, that's irrelevant. It's still a very big opportunity for an actor. So
Yeah.
that led to Imperfect, or Imperfect was being shot
Imperfect
simultaneously?
happened after that, but it came out before that. That was made by Anand Tiwari and Amritpal Singh. I had a great time. After The Office, I did Imperfect. Of course, like Mismatched happened after that. All the decisions that I've taken have been on the basis of how I feel initially about it.
Okay.
I'm being very honest. Initially.
Initially would be on the audition script that you've read.
Yeah.
Mismatch was also a big show. Like, it's one of the most popular shows on Netflix. What was working with Akash Khurana and all these other
The best.
people like?
The best. And I'm not just saying that for the sake of it. I think I've been blessed. Even on The Office, we had Rohan Sippy, Bumpy, and Debbie, who were the directors. And we had BBC who was producing it. We had Hotstar. But more than any other aspect, it was just the overall team. I think I've been blessed with just being on set with an ensemble that's so nice, so welcoming, good people, good actors. If you look at the cast of The Office, these are very good actors.
Yeah.
This very few people will doubt. With Mismatched, I was like, I remember with Akash, I always wanted to work with Akash because everybody wants to work with Akash. He's gold standard in terms of feel good, warmth,
Yeah.
and taking something from whatever you see. I wanted to work with him, and I was like, and we were playing best friends in this show.
So Taro had gotten casted before you?
Yeah, he did. When I tested for this, I met Akash, I met them, and we were starting, I think, in a couple of weeks or something. And we all met. And I think it was sort of, love is a big thing because it was like at first sight, for sure, for all of us. I feel like I've been blessed with like a really good team on whatever I worked on and good people.
Yeah, I mean, and also Mismatched, you had like, you were working with your best friend, you had...
Yeah, Taruk is in Mismatched and we play best friends.
You had Akash Khurana was directing, who's like fantastic at what he does.
I love him. I think he's I really hope and pray that at least that's what I tell my actor friends, manifest that you want to work with him and the team, everyone who's on it. Because there's just a way that set functions that feels right. Nobody's spoiled. By spoiled, I mean very little sense of ego or arrogance at play. There's a lot of comfort, warmth, good food, A lot of good laughs. We party together. We also feel for each other together. We respect each other's boundaries. We respect each other. And I feel for him and his team to set that up very early on, because you have to understand, during season 1 of Mismatched, we were all like early 20s. Some were 19. You know, so we were all between that 19 to 24 bracket. And to have like 8, 10 of us is a task, bro. Think about it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we were also, I think, Netflix India's first cute rom-com space.
Young
is
adult.
that young adult
Yeah.
space. Like, we were the first show like that, you know, in that respect for Netflix. So we were all like geared on, like, you know, fuck, this is it for us, you know, let's just go for it. So for the captain to sort of be like, okay, this is how we do things. This is how it's going to be. This is how you maintain decorum on set. This is how you behave with people on set. I just feel blessed again. I'm using that word because it's true.
How does Akash direct a scene? How does he work with his actors rather?
It depends. At times it could be just a basic, like, we'd be on set. He'd say, okay, come, let's just do lines. And he'd want us to do a dry read in front of him. Then he'd set up the
Dry read with the blocking, like you're in your
So
position.
like first we just read the scene, then we'd block it. He'd present that, okay, this is, you go from B to B, you know, B to C. Okay, see if you want to try this. There's always scope for trying whatever the hell you want to try on Akash's set. Just have a great time. It's not about, okay, I don't mean funny only. I don't mean like improvising for funny. I mean, there's always scope to have a good time creatively. He's always open. If you want to take an extra beat, take it if it makes sense.
Does he prefer if you do that in the blocking stage, or when you're on camera, is it okay also to be in the-
Everything's fine as long as it helps the scene move forward.
Okay.
As long as, you know, he's very clear about the fact that, okay, the hero of the scene is the scene. You know what I mean? We have to understand that we're helping each other. So say you and I are talking about an X problem in the show, right? Like that's where the stakes are. The stakes are very high at this point. If I do an improv that's taking away from it just for the sake of it, but it's funny, then it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't serve the need
It
of
doesn't
the
serve the need.
purpose of the scene.
But if I take an extra beat and I say, okay, if I do an action, he's all in for that. If I say something, he's all in for that. If I cut something, he's all in for that. He himself will come. Sometimes he'll come and he'll say, oh, sorry, my line cut wrong. And that's great. Not once do you feel bad, because you're like, there is nobody on that set who wants you to perform badly. That's every set. That you would also agree. Everyone wants you to give the best performance of your life. He's very direct about the fact that this is what I want. And I completely trust you guys. Have a great time when we're trying to achieve it. And I feel for an actor, that's a win. Because imagine, man, the director's coming to you and telling you, ye achieve karna hai. I'm here to help you through it.
You see how you want.
And I know you will get there.
Yeah.
It's not even a but. He knows that you will get there.
Okay.
You know, so I think that's one of his best things, that he'll be personal with you when he needs to. He'll come like, I remember there was this one time we were shooting a scene in season 1. That scene unfortunately didn't make the final edit, but it's a scene that's very close to my heart. It's a scene that I know Akash also remembers, because we had a great time shooting it.
Yeah.
As an actor director, I felt really good at that time. But the reason I felt good is, like, this is the interesting bit. Like, I did that scene and I felt performance-wise I've got there. I went back to the monitor to check with Akash, and Akash says, please try karega. And I was like, yeah. It's like, yeah. He's like, don't prepare before you enter. I know you're already there. You know what? It was a performance-heavy thing that we were trying to do, but he could see it from the first second. Even if others couldn't catch it, he wouldn't catch it. Even if an audience would have seen it, they would have been like, "Achha, theek hai." He's seen it, and he was right.
Yeah.
I was prepping so much for that scene that it was on my face, it was in my body, it was in my energy that a prepared performance is about to come.
Yeah,
So he just
okay.
went like, तू वहाँ जा, तुझे क्या करना है? And I said, मुझे tap on करना है और उसके बाद मुझे अपना मुंह धोना है, something like that. I had to wash my hands or something.
This is when you had that hair
the
thing.
hair thing.
Yeah.
And he said, "तो वो करना." And that's when I went back to my basics, which were like, the point of acting is action.
Yeah.
What is the action of the scene? Now that's a good director. A director who's reminding you what are the actions in your scene. Do those actions. Commit to those actions. If you know your character well enough, if you've done your homework well enough, your beats will come. You know your lines, no?
Yeah.
You know what your character's been through, no? So trust that, trust your talent. So why I love that moment with us was the fact that I got reminded of my basics, which
Yeah.
all of my teachers have said throughout, because everyone's trying to say the same thing. Use whatever tool you want to do to get where you need to be. Trust your talent, know your beats, commit to the action. Whatever the action of the scene is, that's a good director. He's going to be very happy when but I don't know. Yeah.
But also like your interdynamics between working with so many people around the same age as you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's also a lot of excitement when you're doing something so big at such a young age. Was there a lot of stuff that you guys would do beforehand with each other to prepare for roles, prepare for the scenes of the next day's
Yeah,
work?
as I said, there was always blocking and there was always
So before, without the director being involved.
Yeah, we had workshops with
Okay.
the director. Is that what you're trying to
No,
say?
without the director, like you basically would like call like
Oh,
Kritika
yeah,
or a
yeah.
Taruk
Yeah,
saying,
we'd say,
"Hey,
let's just read."
Let's try this
100%.
scene this
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
I have this idea.
100%, 100%.
Are there any things that you did in particular that you came up with together that you used in the film?
Oh, that ended up being in the show?
Yeah.
So many times.
Give me an instance.
So, for example, like, and we wouldn't, Taruk and I would hardly prep for our scenes. And it's got nothing to do with, naturally aa jayega in dono ka. To Taruk and I have a very different way of approaching. So we just respect that. He knows I prep a certain way, I know he preps a certain way. And we just show up on set and say lines to each other. And it's great.
But what about with the other actors? You have a lot of scenes with Kritika.
Vihan and I, whenever we perform, Vihan and I have, I wouldn't say a similar process, but Vihan also went to NYU Tisch.
Okay.
And then he also studied at Strasberg, because that's where they'd come for their workshops and some classes they took with similar teachers. So it's not about the approach, but Vihan and I have a similar way of prepping, like we do our lines a certain way. So with scenes with Vihan and I, whatever few we did have, yeah, with him I'd be like, Achha, just before the scene I'd be like, listen, I'd like, we'll do something like this. But I'm not telling you right now. I'll do something. He's like, yeah, I'll do. Yeah, and it's in it. And again, Akash doesn't mind all these things.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't even know.
Yeah.
In this, because it's so small, right? Like it'll be
Correct.
like a small shower. It'll be like a small. He'll notice it on screen, but again, if it's not taking away.
Correct.
Similarly with Kritika, we do our lines a lot because there's also intimacy in the scenes and all. There is that comfort with us as well, to the point where we had to be open with each other in the sense ki, "Arey yaar, if you're ever uncomfortable, please tell me." So yeah, we discussed that. Okay, cool. We'll go and speak with the director that this is how we're going to shoot those scenes. This is how we're going to do it. Even though those scenes are very technical.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know this. So yeah, lots of prep if we need to do it. But I think we all reached a point where it was very flowy very soon.
So was it the same thing with like the other shows you did, like Hello Mini and Campus Diaries?
Yeah. Oh, with Campus Diaries again, it was just a fantastic team. It was like Abhishek Yadav, who's the writer of Campus Diaries. He was fresh off of Kota Factory.
Yeah.
Like, he's great. Prem Mistry had made a show called Immature, which was one of the first few shows to go to Cannes Film Festival as part of their web.
Yeah.
So it was the first show from India to go there. His taste is very like, Asghar Farhadi. Like that's the kind of cinema. He watches a lot of like world cinema. Abhishek is very earthy, rustic in his approach. Abhishek is also someone who studied at IIT Bombay. So that's why when people say, how can these people, they understand the syntax of that engineering space. And they're former TVF. So the one thing I knew with Campus Diaries is, dude, it's going to be so well written that as actors, we don't have to do shit. I'm being very honest. Like any actor would know this. If we have a good script, so much of your work is done, man. Then obviously you prep and you do the very basics, but you go on set being like, we just have the two who need to be there, na? That writer, director, they were also producers on the show. Again, just a great team, great actors. I work with some very cool people. With them, it was very different. They like to do readings before, almost every day before we shot. So say we're shooting Monday, Sunday night we'll all sit in their room, chill, hang out, laugh, listen to good music, and then do a read through, and then go to sleep.
Okay.
Read through also, it can be very dry, but they're discussing ideas. They want to keep it fresh. They want to keep it, they will do improv heavy stuff if they need to. They will change it. Abhishek could change it a night prior. He was like, done, dal, kar. Acha, build on it, and he'll tell you when to stop. Similarly with Prem is very, he'll frame it in a way where he trusts the frame even if a couple of things won't work. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? So he'll set the scene up in a way where even if a couple of things don't work, now the overall scene works. So his blocking will be that way. His blocking will be, अच्छा जो मुझे इस scene से चाहिए ना end में वो किसी तरह भी आ जाएगा.
Yeah.
इस time में, because they're also working on a certain budget, as they all are. So in that respect, again, very different approaches, but again, good people. And I know it's going towards slightly this like spiritual space that I'm talking about, but for me, it's important.
Yeah, I mean, that's also who you are.
In fact, Karan Johar, like the first time I met Karan for
The other
Rocky
Karan.
or Rani, the other Karan, yes, after you. I remember for one of the first few things he said to me was, work with good people. Whatever it may be, work with good people. Before you know, this industry works in very interesting ways. But the one thing that, what he was indirectly trying to say was the one thing that nobody will ever forget is how you treated them and how that exchange of energies was.
What about Hello Mini? Now that's like,
Okay, so that was again, it was right after the pandemic and there was no work.
were you okay doing all the sex scenes?
I didn't have those many.
You had couple.
Yeah, but those were also...
I saw those.
Because we're talking about it, I should say this. Every experience is teaching you something or the other. So when I'm there, and if it is a space where, yes, that show had a certain level of intimacy, but I still wanted to do it because I thought it was an interesting character. I'd never portrayed someone so, for the lack of a better term, just negative. He was just like a negative guy in terms of his overall space.
Yeah, he was a selfish person.
A selfish person. There was a sense of
Entitlement.
yeah, privilege, everything. There was just a lot of angst. And these, I had a beard, I had like this whole look. I was very interested. And I wanted to get back to work, man. It had been like a year and a half and I wasn't the only one. Like, I just wanted to work.
Post-COVID,
'cause
everyone...
I didn't know when my next job was coming. I'm just being very honest. But so that was also, your instincts play a part, yes, but that's also a part of your instincts, no? The fact that you want to work.
Correct. It's also survival, dude.
It's survival,
how you
man,
want to,
yeah.
live in this bloody city if you don't have money coming
Yeah,
in.
I was in Delhi. I came to Mumbai specifically to shoot and my dad was like, listen, just look around, you might find something. I swear, I just looked for 2 days. Second day, I found like the house that I ended up renting because I got it so cheap.
Yeah.
Because of, I mean...
Post-COVID.
Yeah, the rates were such. Because people were again like...
Yeah. Now it's again skyrocketed.
Yeah, well, now it's skyrocketed, but I got lucky. So even my dad was like, yeah, this is great. You're living in a nice, safe space and you're getting a good rate. Take it, no. We'll take it. But again, coming back to what you said, I was okay with it. I had a very simple, nice team. We had a very nice, simple team who were very respectful. They understood what worked, what didn't work for each actor. And I feel even that experience taught me what it taught me, you know. Now, if there is a space in the future or even now when I have to be intimate, when it's even as small as a hug, even if I'm hugging someone, even if I'm kissing someone, even if I'm touching their knee like this, what I learned from that set was how the other person is feeling
In that
opposite you
moment.
in that moment, how one should communicate a certain way, because they're not all your best friends, right? Like, you're not all best friends.
Correct. You're in a
just
professional working
making out
space.
and stuff, you know. No, you're in a professional space and there's a way to do it. So yeah, the technicalities of it, and I think these things are important, man. Tomorrow, if you direct something and you want your two actors to be intimate in that space, you want them to be comfortable. You want them to be relaxed. You want them to trust you. So not once did I feel like, "Arey, kya ho raha hai?"
Kya kar raha hu main?
No. I knew what I was getting into. And I knew I'd learn something out of it. And I did.
What did your mom say when she saw you?
I told them that there is, like, you haven't seen me like this. Obviously, what you think of the show is very subjective. So you guys haven't seen me this way. So watch it if you're okay with it. I'm telling you already. My mom saw it. My dad also saw it. I think I'm okay in the show. So like,
Finally coming to the last thing you've done, not to play.
why did
Talking about
Mismatched 2?
Mismatched as a
You're talking about Rocky or Rani?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to get to the Dharma.
the Dharma.
The Dharma is coming.
How did Dharma discover you?
Karan saw Mismatched season 1 and he got in touch with me on my birthday. Yeah.
He DM'd you.
No. He WhatsApp. He got my number from Panchmi, who's the casting director. And he messaged and he said, "Hey, this is Karan. Can we do a quick catch up? And I think he wanted to talk to me about this as well." And Panchmi had sort of told me that, Karan might get in touch. But I was like, somebody from his team might get in touch. I got a message from him. My mom was sitting next to me. I remember I told her, "Mom, I think Karan Johar just messaged me. And my mom just went like, what? And I was like, yeah, because it just said like KJ. And then I went to my brother's room and I said, bro, I think Karan just messaged me. And my brother also went like, what? I was like, you have to understand, for us, it's a big
it's
thing.
real.
It's a big thing. It's a big moment.
What do you ask for anyone?
Yeah, man, it's beautiful. It was so nice. The first time I met him, I thanked him for that. I said that I wanted to thank you not just because of what I felt, because that's okay. I wanted to thank you not just because of what I felt or how I felt, but I wanted to thank you because of how my mom felt for those few minutes. Because she felt really nice, you know, she felt like good things can happen.
Yeah.
And I feel that's what's very special, because before you know it, I think the one truth is that, you know, there's very few people who share your purpose and vice versa. So these are people like my father, my mom, my brother. These are people who share my purpose as well, and as I do with them.
So did he make you audition immediately, or like?
Yeah,
was
I
he-
tested for it, but I think he was very keen on the basis of what he saw in Mismatched in terms of, I think he, you know what I mean. So he was quite confident, and he said let's. And then I tested, and then second meeting I got it, and then yeah.
So did you have any readings before the film started or anything?
I was shooting for Mismatched too, so I
Okay.
missed a lot of the prep work. So I sort of showed up on set, Rocky or Rani, just like.
What was your first day like over there?
My first day on Rocky or Rani was the scene where Ranveer and I enter the office. We were shooting in Mehboob, I remember, Mehboob Studios. So we were about to enter, and I remember Ranveer and I were prepping, doing curls, doing push-ups and shit, talking to each other, drinking water, and getting into it. Suddenly, Ranveer and I looked at each other, and he's also there's such an innocent energy about him. That excitement in him is just so infectious. We just looked at each other and we both just went like, Karan Johar ki picture, Karan Johar ki picture. It was so, and it was mad. He said it with as much honesty as I was saying. And we were doing this backstage, like we were about to enter the scene.
Yeah.
He was going to call action, and we are here, picture just doing like, picture,
Being a
movie,
little like
picture, movie.
fangirls.
Yeah. You know, and Karan heard everything.
Obviously, he has a
obviously, 'cause-
headphone
yeah.
on.
Anyway, we just entered, and it was just amazing to be on set, learn so much from all
So
these.
what did you pick up from these people you worked with, like Alia Bhatt, Ranveer Singh, Karan Johar? What
I
did
mean,
you take back home from the experience?
The most number of scenes that I had was whatever scenes I had with Ranveer. The first few days are where we sat together and we were doing lines together. I remember when we'd have those off moments. He's someone who's always keen to help if you do ask. You know, if you don't, then he'll respect your space. And he's someone who's very in tune with what he wants to do. But he's also in tune with what his co-actors want to do. He's a very giving actor. He'll feed off of you, but he'll also give. You know, he'll be like, okay, so how can we make this scene work together? So we were talking, and I asked him like, you know, what's like some of the stuff that's inspired you, and what have you learned from, I won't name the directors, but I asked him about like the directors that he's worked with and what are the things that he's taken from each of them. So he gave me some very, very important points. You know, like the one thing he told me was that when you go on set and you're a part of that director's world, never think that it's impossible. Because there's always that pseudo intellectual in you who's like, मेरा character ये नहीं करेगा. क्यों नहीं करेगा? स्क्रिप्ट में लिखा है ना, डायरेक्टर बोल रहा है ना, उसने एक दुनिया बनाई है ना तुम्हारे लिए, ताकि तुम बिलीव कर पाओ.
So find a way to make that work.
Commit. So he learned that when you're on these sets, believe that it'll all happen, and it happens, and it makes sense, because for that world it makes sense. So don't negate it, because then you're just fighting
Yeah.
with yourself.
But have you ever had a faced a place, been in a position where you've had a choice that you really weren't convinced about and you found difficult
It's happened.
to perform?
It's not about. There's been times when I've been like, "Arey yaar, why?" So it's not like no, it's why. So I'll go to my director and I'll say, "You give me a little more clarity on this." It's not like I won't. I'll do this. But like, just give me the reason. And if that reason convinces me, because that's also a director's job, right? To
Yeah, yeah.
communicate with the actor and
Correct.
say, this is why I feel we do it. Or he's doing this, or you're doing this, you know? And yeah, if I'm convinced, why won't I go for
Have you ever not been convinced? And how do you navigate that? No? Have all the
I've been very
convinced?
lucky, man. I really do feel so. Then the one thing he told me was practice makes perfect. He gave me this example of, you know, how does a batsman get better? He practices, right?
Yeah.
He's in the nets and he's practicing.
Yeah.
He's playing. If he's not selected in the team, he's He's playing domestic. He's trying. He's doing all these things. He's continuously practicing. So what do you do as an actor? Practice, work. With Alia, unfortunately, I didn't have those many scenes with her. But whenever I shot with her, she's wonderful. She's incredibly gifted. And I know it's easier said than done because people just say gifted. But she's worked on it. You can sense it. You can sense in her approach to her character that she knows the beats, she knows the scene, she knows her lines, she knows your lines, she knows the space. She's been around the space long enough. She's gonna help you. She's gonna play off of your action. So, for example, even if when you see that scene where Ranveer and I enter, dude, we're like two cartoons who entered.
Yeah.
Look at her face, man. Look at the way she's reacting off of us. It's hilarious. Like there were times during the because we were blocking the scene, right? She's so in tune with everything that's going on that as an actor, it's a treat. It's so much fun.
What about Karan?
Yeah, man, it's tricky. Like whatever he means a lot to me. I don't know, like in terms of the very basics of it, as a director, an actor's dream.
Yeah.
Do whatever, man. There's this one sequence where Ranveer and I are talking. Ranveer is talking to Alia on the phone and she's inviting her to the Akhada before the Jhumka song. Dude, Karan's come on set that day. He's told us, okay, just, we did the lines. Okay, this is the blocking. You go from A to B. Vicky, Rocky, enjoy. Have a good time. And he's gone to the monitor. And Ranveer and I are like, let's go. Let's fucking go. And this was, but again, the interesting thing is that this is after we'd finished. We shot that sequence after we'd finished like 40-50% of the film. And I think Karan also trusted.
Yeah, you kind of built that rapport already.
Yeah, like trust. It was just to the point where he knew that, look, they'll stick to the lines. They'll play wherever they can. But I trust them, man. They'll have a good time. Why not? It's a scene where you should have fun. So let my actors have fun. And again, the thing with Karan's set is that I thought it was like a myth, but it's true. Like it's like the most set that you'll see because that's just how it is. That's the vibe, man. The vibe is love. It's something fun going on here. There's good food. There's again just a good chemistry there's good chemistry everywhere. Like in terms of it's also beautiful every frame. It's also a set where I've not gone to the monitor. Like you know how sometimes you go on to see yourself.
But is he okay with people not seeing the people seeing the monitor? Some directors I know aren't. They don't like it when people come to the monitor.
I don't know, man. The only time I think we ever saw it was like when we'd be like, oh, like we were done. Like he had okayed it and like it's afterwards. You know what I mean? Like it was like, oh cool, let's go see what we did.
Okay.
It wasn't like, arey jo humne kiya wo theek tha kya? No, it was like, oh cool. Like it's done. We've got the take. It's okay. We're moving on. Let's just see till the time they set up the next shot. Let's just see what we've done. That's what so I don't think why would anyone mind that.
No, some people don't.
No, man, I think he's very confident about his frames that way in terms of...
No, it's not about confidence. I think it's more about like they are going to be getting too much into... Because a lot of actors don't know how it's going to be edited, how it's going to play out. The director in his head has already planned that out.
Oh, at least with me, like I'll be very honest, I didn't really go to the monitor that much. But whenever I saw the scene, whenever I got the opportunity, because scene set up ho raha hai, to, like they were playing it. Like they were playing it. And we'd ask, and if this scene, we're just watching, man, it's so much fun. There was nothing, again, I never felt any kind of offness about anything. There was just a lot of comfort on set.
So now it's been how many months since the film's released?
Yeah, I think 2.5, 3 months.
So out of all the projects you've done, what do you get recognized for the most?
It's a mix. I think the three most popular ones are probably like Campus Diaries, Mismatched, and Rocky Rani Keeping. Not in that order, but
these are the three that...
Yeah.
When people do come up to you or like when people do message you saying, sir, I want to be an actor, would you reply to them?
I have conversations. But this was a while back. But they asked me this exact same thing that, hey, like, and it was a very honest message that I'm trying all different avenues. It's just not, what can you suggest? I sent him the email roster that I had when I moved to Bombay. And I sent him that and I said, please message these people, please email them. Because this is a professional way of doing it, no?
Yeah.
Because if someone just gets a message from you, and they know there's no reference, they've just somehow found your number, then I understand why someone wouldn't reply.
Yeah.
But if you send it to their professional emails, and even if there's that 0.0, I work with that 0.01% chance, man.
Yeah.
That's all I need. I'm being very honest with you. That's how I live till whenever. I'm okay if there is a casting going on and they say, Abhinav, there's a very small chance. I'm like, give me that chance, no?
Yeah.
I will give everything that I have to make the best out of it. That's my job. That's my responsibility. So I send them those emails, addresses, so that they can reach out to them, workshops that they can take. That's also something that I think one should talk about. Like if there are workshops happening, make sure you go to the ones which will give you that one-to-one time. Prachit Singh does really good workshops. There's some other ones, but other than that, like if there are, especially those ones which are like heavily marketed and you see like there'll be like 40-50 odd people there and they're charging a lot of money, I suggest, I'm not saying don't do them, but just don't. If
Look for alternatives.
I mean, man, everyone's on a budget, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, a lot of it
Not
is-
everyone's on a budget.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah, majority of the people
Even if
are.
you're not, why would you put that much money when you can use that money for 3 workshops with someone, man?
Yeah.
If it's just for the certificate and that one photo with that person, I mean, I'm not judging, but then I don't know how much honesty there is in that.
Yeah. Have you ever done one of these workshops where you thought like you didn't come out with a wholesome experience?
No, I've never done these. I've never done a workshop where I felt even a little off in the beginning. If I felt it's just
Yeah.
दिख रहा है, क्यों कर रहे हैं ये लोग, मैं करूँगा. I have not gone.
Now slightly changing the topic. What's been the hardest part of like your career? Like,
I'm very open about the fact that I do a lot of what I do for my family also. Like my mom and my Masi are visiting right now. Like they came yesterday. They flew in on Sunday to watch my play and they're here till tomorrow. They leave tomorrow. One of their close friends and my aunties, she passed away last week. Like when we were talking, I told them that I performed like 3-4 days in a row. I performed Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I took her name before going on stage every night. Because she saw all my things. Like she was also a teacher in my school. And my mom and my Masi and everyone, they're all teachers. Their whole gang has always that they've always blessed not just me, my brother, all the kids in the family. It's so nice when you get to just give your thanks in that one way. So I said her name before every show. I think about my mom, my dad, my brother before I go to bed. The hardest times are the ones where you know that they just want you to work and you're not being able to get work. So the hardest times are the ones when the phone calls are the hardest. Every day when like your mom calls you and if
how was your day?
yeah, how was your day? And and I really try. It's not to hide it. I really try to give her an answer that somehow like makes her feel nicer on those tough days.
Yeah, because when it's hard for you, it's harder for her.
Yeah, it sucks, man. She can sense it, Same with same with everyone else. Like I have messages from my nani, my brother, which are basically like, hey, it seems like you had an off day, but just know that things will be okay. And these messages guide you through so many moments. The first time I ever went to like the Dharma office, I was in the lift, and in that journey from like the ground floor to like wherever, like I was seeing these messages and I was like, damn, man. Like it wasn't to get emotional. It was just like, just remember, you're going into this meeting, but remember this, remember your basics, remember why you're doing it. Don't get carried away. Don't be egoistic. Don't become an asshole suddenly. Don't walk with an air about you, which is not necessary, because these are the basics and these are the morals and ethics with which you grew up.
Don't lose yourself.
Don't lose yourself, because there's no point.
Yeah.
So the hardest times are those, the calls where there is no information to give to your mom or your dad that there is work, because there isn't.
Yeah,
That
no, I know what you
sucks.
mean. Like sometimes when my parents call me and when I was living in Bombay, I'd have to think of like something that to say that wouldn't be like,
Seems productive.
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So that way, those are the tough moments. But other than that, I think I'm blessed again with just.
And if you had to give any advice to aspiring actors,
Please become actors. It's completely okay to want to have that dream, and it's completely okay for you to aspire to be whoever you wish to be.
but what do they need to do to get better at the craft and to get work?
Train. That's what my dad said. What not many, nobody, actually very few know that I was actually giving law entrance exams after
Really?
Yeah, after school.
You passed CLAT?
No, I was giving all these entrances for my dad. And I was doing this because he was like, just have something to fall. Not because he wasn't supportive. He was just like,
No, in case, yeah.
After one of these exams, I went to his office, like my mom and he was just to chill. And he asked, like, how was today's exam? And I was like, it was nice. And I was very low that day. And we went downstairs and we sat in the car. And my dad came down and he knocked on the car window. And I rolled down the car window and he said, that's it. And I was like, what happened? He's like, that's it. No more entrances. And I was like, why? He's like, I just don't want to see my son upset. And that's a big thing to see, man. Like the fact that he could see, it's not like giving those entrances was upsetting me. I was upset because I just knew it's not what I want to do. The only thing a parent wants is for their child to be okay. To be okay. Just feel good. Be comfortable. It's not about the riches of life. It's just about being comfortable with who you are. So I think when he saw me perform a couple of times, then obviously when I got work in different aspects of it, like whether it was film or web in the web space, or I think whenever he's seen me, like Tarok, I think was sitting next to my dad during the opening of Balle Balle, and I think when I came on stage, my dad started crying. And I've never seen my dad cry, but Tarok saw my dad cry. And I
thought you never saw your dad cry when you saw Kabhi Khushi Kabhi.
Oh, my dad. Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. We should talk about this. My dad would never cry, but like the first time I think I saw my dad cry was when he was watching that Ben scene in Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. Well done, Karan. The other Karan. Again, like it was fantastic. Like I could see it from like a small, gap in the door. And I was like, Dad, somebody. I thought my mom was watching the film because she loves the film, right?
Yeah.
I thought my mom was watching the film. So I went and I saw, and my dad was like crying when he was like, "Ghar wapas aa jao bhaiya." And he's just like, and I opened the door. I was like, Dad. And he was like, Pagal. And he just did this. But no, like, it's okay, man.
Yeah.
Like, that was, so I mean, my point is that it's such a big win for a parent to see their child happy. That you just do it. You want to do it again and again for them. So the happiest moments that I've had, you were talking about the hardest, the happiest moments that I've had are not when people have messaged me, are not when they've called me. It's when my mom and dad are sharing messages on the family group saying that, hey, we just got a message from this auntie or that uncle or this teacher or your flatmate or your schoolmate from here and there, or their flatmates, their schoolmates, people who they used to live by, that, oh, we saw Abhinav in this, we wish him all the best. You must be so proud as parents. So those are the happiest times as well,
Yeah.
So both aren't so much me.
Yeah.
It's them. So I just feel it's so important that you enjoy those moments as well. So yeah, I hope I can give them more such moments.
So coming back to the other thing, training. You said training is crucial.
So please train yourself. I feel that my point with that story was like, because when my dad says, okay, no more law entrances, what he also said was, then I want you to train. So I want you to, if you want to be an actor,
do it the right way.
Do it the right way. That's when I applied for Strasberg.
So, okay, training is a big part of it. I completely agree. Then there's also the practicality of working and also the mental stability of dealing with this kind of work. How would you navigate those two things?
I speak to my mother. I really feel my mom is my unpaid therapist. I think she's happy also doing it. Yeah, I can't sleep before speaking to my mom. I speak to her about everything, pretty much everything.
So that's what kind of keeps you in check mentally.
100%.
When you're dealing with
100%.
like tense moments in your career.
Very, very tense moments. Like moments where it's not about giving up. Remember, at least according to me, nobody wants to give up on their dream. Like wants to give up on their dream, man. Like why? It's just that Mumbai as a city is the most beautiful city because it'll always give back the work that you put in. But Mumbai can also be a city that will break your heart multiple times till it gives you that win.
Yeah, there was a show I worked on where one of the lines in the VO is, whatever money you make in Mumbai will never leave Mumbai. You're just going to end up spending it over here.
That is so true. That is so true, man. It's so expensive, yeah, Bombay.
Yeah, I think we are done with the podcast segment of the show. And
lovely.
Any parting words of wisdom before we sign off?
Nothing. I hope whoever's watching this, if there are...
Love your family.
Oh, love your family. It's all about loving your family.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all about loving your family.
That's the line. I couldn't get it.
I'm glad, man. I'm glad.
So like, share, subscribe, watch Abhinav's work. Abhinav has a fantastic body of work. He's just done a play called Small Family Business, which was absolutely fucking hilarious. He plays a cokehead and he is so convincing. Clearly, he does it in his spare time. But
Never done it.
please watch it. Follow Abhinav. Support him. Support actors like him who are working hard. And if you want to be an actor, there's no harm reaching out to people, and some people will reply, some people won't. But if you're doing it, do it passionately
Amen. Watch good films, watch good people perform.
and get better in life.
Get better.
Just
Get better.
grow.
It's all gonna happen.
Yeah.
I think so.